Okay, we are just done with week 8, and I'll tell you what, the weather is nice high school football weather. It is North Carolina high school football weather. And thank you so much for joining us. It's me, Jim West, and Dale Ross, and we are with Talking Preps. All right, Butler Fields. Tell me about it, Dale. What do we know about it? Looks like it's something.
Well,
Looks like we got some improvements over the years. I think it's what a 28-year in process type of improvement.
it's kind of I guess the best way to put it, when the Butler Stadium was built, they never completed it. And sadly, it's not like a full stadium renovation. It's just a field renovation, but it's got to be the nicest turf in CMS. It's a lot different than the turf that Palisades has. I don't know much more. I don't know who it's got a different manufacturer or different product that the manufacturer is using, but it's very, very soft. It felt like grass actually
Is it
when you
is it
step
more
on it.
like the Wake Forest type of turf, or is it more like the Chapel Hill that we had?
I haven't. I It's not like any field I've been on, to be quite
Okay,
honest with you. The closest, the best field I have been on, AstroTurf wise, may have been at Gaffney High
mm,
School. Uh, they have a very nice turf there, but I don't know. This is just it feels differently. It feels like grass. It's very soft. So as you saw there, they at least have a new field, Jim. So still the same stands, small stadium, but a great field.
great, great, great. I'm glad to hear that. It's long past due for Butler, and just think about all the games that they've played over. I guess they've been around for this is what the 29th year for Butler. I think they started playing varsity ball in '97, and they've won what three state championships. And to have this wonderful field is, I think it's going to pay dividends for Butler. And I know Brian Hells has got to be smiling ear to ear right now.
Well, they were very happy tonight because there were a couple of firsts uh, tonight for them. Their first home game at their own stadium, though they've had some other home games, and they won their first home game on the new field. So that's one of the main reasons I went to that game tonight, was because of the field. I wanted to see it, and uh, it's like you say, it's a long time coming for certain things for Butler. Now, their rivals, Independence, will probably say the same thing. You know, they have more state championships and field, et cetera. They, those two schools have not been kept up with, even though they are the premiers from a state championship point. They're the premier two programs.
Earlier on, I was looking at some of the highlights for that Butler North Met game, and there was one hit that as soon as I saw it, my shoulder started hurting. And I think you know which one I'm talking about. It was one of those, oh my gosh, I'm gonna feel it 27 years from now type of hit.
Touchdown.
Drop easy, drop. Drop easy. Right there, easy. Right there.
Ooh. 2nd and 5 from about the 7. Touchdown. Oh, he's wide open.
Oh my
I
gosh,
didn't
my
qua
shoulder is just killing me.
There
Oh,
was actually a bigger hit than that, but it occurred on the other side of the field from me, and I didn't have my, camera zoomed in enough to really, get it, but, if you heard me, I made a comment about that hit. Uh, what a hit it was. Uh, Here we are playing some other highlights again. Just a couple of things about the
this is the one
game.
right here. This is the one.
Yeah,
Boom. Oh gosh. That's the oh.
there were several good defensive plays tonight, primarily by, Butler. The one of the unfortunately for North Meck, it was not a productive night for them. They only got on the Butler side of the field once. They did get the ball down to the 5-yard line, and then, uh, after a first and goal, they ended up having to turn the ball over to Butler, and then Butler took the ball, so Butler held, had a nice goal line stand, and then Butler took the ball all the way down to the 5-yard line, and North Meck held, and North Meck didn't only just hold. Butler ended up losing about, I think, 20 or 25 yards. So North Meck took over around the 30-yard line. But
Wow.
otherwise, it was not a productive night for North Meck. It was a very productive night for Butler. Butler looked very good.
I'll tell you someone else that was very productive tonight is over Independence. Coach DJ McFadden. Oh my gosh. Indy, they are they just took Chambers to school. I think that's the only way to put it. And I'm sorry, I know DJ's a very humble fellow, but I won't. I'll beat my chest for DJ on this one. DJ, I hope you're on. What a big win tonight, and don't know.
Well, we know he's here. I don't know if he's been brought back into the show or if
Well,
he's
DJ will be very humble. You know, he'll say something very like, "Well, you know what? We got to work on some things." But the other team did. They had some really good moments. We just played really good. I mean, DJ just knows how to coach football. I'll tell you what. You know what, Dale? I told you at the beginning of the season, Independent seems like by week 11 they get a little bit. They're like among the best, and I think we're going to see that with Independence and 7A this year.
definitely. The sad part is that, and I posted this in our chat, that Chambers is, I've not seen Chambers ever struggle like we've seen last year and this year. And if you go back and Jim, you got all those the
Yeah.
history of scores and all. You'll see that the old Vance teams and uh, Chambers teams were all very very good. This
Oh,
is DJ
yeah.
there?
He is not. Doesn't look like
So
he's there.
tonight was their homecoming, Jim. It
Okay.
was actually Butler's homecoming, and it was Independence's homecoming, and it was a game that was limited. So here's a guy who was at the game.
Gary, what's up, Gary?
Hey,
Tell us about it, man.
which one is that you talking about?
The indie game.
Yeah, yeah.
Indy and Chambers?
Yes, sir.
Uh Indy really scored on a lot of big plays. I think they drove the ball the first possession, um, and then they threw a touchdown. They had a pick six. They had a long run. They had a fake punt. They they scored on defense. They scored on special teams. They scored on offense. And the thing about it, Chambers doesn't look inferior talent wise. They still have the same kind of size and speed that Indy does, but they just don't have those dogs, so to speak, like they used to. They I don't I couldn't put my finger on it, but once that snowball started rolling downhill, there was nothing they could do to stop Indy tonight. It's a big win for Indy. I think it sets them up in a good position to get a high seed in the 7A playoffs.
Here, you think when it comes to like having seniors on a team like with Chambers, do you think it makes a big difference, like with how you can improve from week to week? Or I'm just curious if Chambers has a lot of seniors this year, and
You're
if not,
breaking up, Jim. I can't hear you. Your question's not clear. What did you say?
let me change here. Can you hear me all right, Gary?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, I was wondering if Chambers has a lot of seniors this year or not. I'm always a big believer that having seniors will help
Well,
you with.
I would hope tonight was a reflection of youth, that they're young and inexperienced. I haven't heard the makeup of the team. Tonight was the first time I'd seen them play. I just kind of I stood on their side of the field for a long time because I just wanted to see how. I look at the game as a coach because I did it for so long. I look at, do the coaches address, how the coaches address the players? Do the players sit down when they come off the field, or the coaches giving them instruction? I'm looking to see what kind of structure is on the sideline, and for the most part, it was pretty good for Chambers. I mean, it looked like everybody knew what they were supposed to be doing, but once they got on the field, and they didn't have a lot of penalties, it just like bad things start happening and snowball. Now, a lot of kids, their body language wasn't good after that pick six, which made it, I think, 20-0 early in the second quarter. And then it seems like they start looking for things bad to happen. That's the fourth game they've lost after getting off to a good start. So, at this time of year, they still got to play West Charlotte. They still got to play Mallet Creek. You would have to think that their playoff chances are about gone after tonight's loss.
Yeah,
They have 22 seniors on the team, so they're not. That's a fair number, if I remember correctly. Joe.
Yeah, they had big numbers. It looked like it was at least 50 kids dressed. I mean, they had big numbers. They had good-looking athletes. They had speed. They had nice size on the offensive line, but they just, once that ball was snapped, they didn't look like the Chambers I was used to seeing.
Right.
they kind of Chambers had they won their very first 3 games, and then they lost a couple non-conference games against teams that they were competitive, but they to me they if they're going to be one of those teams like Chambers usually would in the win. They lost to Palisades by a touchdown. They lost to Ardrey by 3, and then they lose to Butler. And now they lost to Independence. So uh, it's they got North Mech next week. I mean that North Mech game. I don't know. That game might be a toss-up at this point. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. I think they have more talent than North. I've seen North play once also. I think they're more talented than North. But I don't know what their state of mind is right now, because that's, the independent, not the independence, but the Chambers culture over the last decade, Dale. I mean, for a
Ever
long
since they
time.
opened, Gary, I think ever since they opened.
Well, we weren't dominant when I coached over there, and I was there when we opened. We were good, but we
You
weren't.
were good though.
Huh?
I said you were good.
Yeah, we were good, but we weren't dominant. Not like
and
they
then you
were
got
5 years ago, though.
well, Chambers. Excuse me, Vance. I still remember the game where Vance almost beat Independence during the streak.
Yeah, I was on that staff.
Yeah, that was a good advanced team. Brand, I think, took it to the next level.
Yeah, he did. He definitely did.
But I don't know. My feelings are, and I may be wrong, but my feelings are that this is the worst streak, the worst, stint of time for Chambers in the history of the school. So I don't know.
Well, it had some bad times. The second head coach, Michael Jordan, I think he only had one winning team. And then the other coaches they've had have been average to good. Of course, highlighted by Brandon Farabee, but it just with the number of athletes that they have over there. I mean, when you got size and speed, you should be good. Not really. I like the quarterback a lot. Now he's got to work on his accuracy, but he has a gun. And he's athletic, and I thought he showed a lot of leadership when the team was starting to get down on themselves and get down on each other when they went down 20-0. I thought he showed a lot of leadership by trying to calm the guys down and organize them and tell them let's play at a time, but they just didn't have it tonight, and I don't think they're a playoff team.
Well, they may not make the playoffs. So
and it's kind of when it's only it's 24 berths at the 8A level and it's only 32 teams. It's hard to miss at the 8A level. That's the easiest bracket to qualify for now.
Actually, 1A and 2A is if you're 1A and 2A, you're in.
You're in. It's automatic, huh?
Yeah, it's automatic at this point.
Okay. Wow. That's like a participation trophy. That's
with
2A.
There's only 45 teams with 48 areas to be in the playoffs, and with 1A you only have 24 teams, and only 21 of them will even accept a bid because 3 of them play 8-man football. So.
Well,
just proof that the 8 classifications is too many.
It was too many. It should have been 6, at the most, to get more balance. But there we go. Unintended consequence.
Yeah, unintended consequence. That's for exactly sure.
Jim, you're going in and out.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Now, yeah. Okay. I don't know what happened, but
you
break up sometimes.
Okay.
So I guess DJ, if DJ does show up, whomever, just bring him into the show and have him talk over us.
Okay. DJ, can you hear? I don't hear.
Let's get the other scores up.
DJ's not here. Okay. All right. I'll tell you what. One thing I was going to mention. Let's go ahead and look at the scores here. I don't see any big shockers there. Palisades, Valentine Ridge, running clock. Ardrey, Rocky River, almost a running clock. Huff has a running clock. Myers Park has a running clock. Independence does. A.L. Brown, I thought at one time A.L. Brown was behind Central Cabarrus. And next thing you know,
at one time.
All right, here's DJ.
Okay, DJ, you with us?
Hey, can y'all hear me?
Hey, DJ, we can hear you.
My bad, man. Service was all jacked up. What's going on, folks?
Nothing much, man. All about you. I'll tell you what, that was a big win tonight.
Yeah, no, I thought we played well, homecoming, and I thought at least for 3 quarters we was able to kind of play complementary football in all 3 phases. So I thought it was a good win for us. I didn't like the way we finished the game. Um, had a special teams mishap.
All
Uh,
right. Looks like he's broken up again.
And
Oh, there he is. Okay.
thought we gave up a score, but no, I thought we played well tonight. One of the better wins we've had.
DJ, can you hear us?
emphasis this week in practice after coming off a disappointing game last week?
I
Can you
can't
hear
hear. I can't hear DJ.
Yeah, can y'all hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear
Yes,
you
sir.
now.
Yeah, Coach. I was asking, what was your point of emphasis this week after coming off a disappointing loss last week?
I didn't hear the whole question. I heard disappointing loss.
Yeah, I was asking you, what was your point of emphasis this week after coming off a loss last week? Guess he couldn't hear me.
Okay. All right. Just out of curiosity, Gary, how big was the crowd size over at Indy?
Initially I thought it was going to be very small. It was, it was less than 50 people. You can see the picture I took. Uh, that was the Vance side at kickoff. Um, and I got to talk to a couple of administrators, and I think they're pretty disappointed that the school system is. I think it's a drastic measure. I really do, personally. That's not what an administrator told me. They were just disappointed that they need that money. They need that money to fund their athletic programs, especially those non-revenue sports that the softball, the tennis, the golf. They need that money, and just just because there's a perception that something might happen, the school system is costing them money, and maybe what you do, and this just hit me. I know they say they don't have the extra funds to pay, but take a cut of the gate and pay the extra, pay the security. Now, I was able to talk to a security associate today, and some of security associates just don't like going to certain schools, and because there's always some drama there, and they don't think they get enough support, whether that's from CMS police or the whole CMS security for that particular school, and they just don't want to work. They especially don't want to work at West Charlotte.
Hey, Gary, we got a guest on with us,
Okay.
Coach Chris. Coach Chris, you with us?
Yes, sir, I am. How's it going?
Doing pretty good, man. Tell us about tonight. How was it for you?
Uh, um, I mean, good for us. It was we played Langtree. They started off with a JV team for a couple years. It's their first year of varsity. But it was rough. It was 49-0. It was 42-0 in the first quarter, maybe, but it was rough. I mean, just kind of trying not to embarrass kids and the players and doing all that stuff. But I mean, almost like you just can't stop from scoring sometimes, I guess.
Yeah, I
Well,
mean
you
that's
can't.
one thing you can't do. It's like you can't tell your kids just to drop down and take a knee all the time.
Right. And I mean, our starters were out after the first quarter, and you want the younger guys to be able to play and throw the ball, but it's just like at a point in time, I know some coaches just don't care, but it just I'm not out to try to embarrass programs or kids or anything else, and I know it can be demoralizing, and you're trying to build a program, and you might have a few kids that are good, and they look to go to other places because of what's happening. I mean, it's tough.
Right, I agree with you on that.
Yeah, but
Who you got next week?
yeah, but proud of my boys. I mean, they play good, and we're getting ready for CSD, which will be a conference championship game. Maybe we'll have Christ the King after, which is a good program as well. But just going in, we're both undefeated, so whoever wins that game will definitely have the upper hand for the conference.
No, CSD, is that like your biggest rival at this point, or do you have the biggest rival?
I mean, I would probably say them. If Mountain Island was still in the conference, it would have been between CSD and Mountain Island, but I would probably say CSD. It gets a little heated when we play. I mean, it's competitive. They beat us there for the first year we were in the conference, and we beat them up at home. So I mean, I'm sure this week is personal for them, which is the same for us. And now we're in the same, we're both in 2A. So I mean, there's always a possibility of seeing each other twice. So I would say right now that would be our rival going forward for sure.
That's what I was going to ask you. It's like, how difficult is it to play a team the second time?
Very difficult. Just being at a private school in Ohio, it always happens. And I've been on both sides of it where we get beat up on and then win those playoff games with some adjustments and different things, and been on it where we get beat up both times because they were just better than us. And, but it's always tough to play somebody twice, just being able to make adjustments and kind of seeing things and figuring out the game. So, I mean, it's going to be tough. That's one team I wouldn't want to play twice. But, I mean, if it happens, it happens, I guess.
Gotcha. Dale, you got any questions for Coach Chris?
No. Not much of a game for you tonight. How do you prepare your team? How do you prepare your team for games like this?
It really is tough. We go into the game with the mindset we're down 14-0. I got that from my offensive coordinator, Chris Evans, and it's, we're in the game. We're going down 14-0. We're going to come out. We're going to play with some urgency, like we're behind. We're going to play up tempo on offense. We're going to blitz on defense and just get the guys moving and take their minds off of things and just play. It's hard to, especially, just sharing some of the film. Like one of the teams they played was Lincoln Charter, who we had beat 52-6. And Lincoln Charter beat them. It was like 43-42. And it's, when you just show 13, 14, 15-year-old kids, it's like, oh, we're going to walk through them. So it's not really showing the film. And just talking about the score and people putting up points, they're able to put up points and just different things and just going out and just playing with that urgency, just up tempo. So they really don't have the time to really just sit around, I guess, just think about who they're playing and what's going on and just play fast and run around and try to make plays.
So how do you approach the point where you start playing your twos more and maybe threes? Do you do that? Do you wait until the third quarter? Do you give the guys a series and then start substituting? What's your philosophy?
So this game, I mean, we played the first quarter. I mean, they literally came out and I think they ran the ball maybe twice the first quarter. So the clock is stopping every other play for passes and things like that. But after the first quarter, their coach went to the rough and said that he just wanted to run a clock, which I was fine with. So going into the second quarter, we just played our twos and then threes, and just kind of giving guys work and things. And I mean, just being a newer program, and we still have freshmen starting varsity for us. So some of those guys we still leave out there to get the reps and to keep getting better and just seeing the different blitzes and schemes and things that are going on. But some of the other guys like the Nate Kumbas and the Trey Dukes of the world and things like that, we take those guys out and just kind of work on, just our basic football, just our kick and wheel and running the ball and our reads and all that stuff.
Yeah, the negative to running clocks is not giving other kids opportunities to get reps.
Right. And the thing for us, we had a JV game this week, so we already don't have a big team. So now you have that roster of 10 kids that can play 8 quarters. So it's not like we had a lot of kids that were dressed. So it's like now you're really putting kids in positions that they didn't play because you just are just trying to get some of the starters out.
Coach, I had a question for you. We're dealing with the problem with CMS right now, where they're with high-profile games. It's limited to a certain number of fans. What do you think about that? Do you think it's like for the teams that are like Independence and Huff and Butler, West Charlotte? How do you feel for your fellow coaching brothers?
I mean, it's tough. You want your, the student body there. You want the fans there. I think you just kind of increase security. We used to have those issues. It's funny you talk about it because I remember jumping over a fence. We had a fence around our field before you got to the stands, and I remember jumping over the fence into the crowd during the game to break up a fight, and a gun fell out of a kid's pocket, and
Oh my gosh.
it gets rough. But I just think you have the kids like a certain age, you have to be accompanied by a parent. And you're in the stands. And once you get to 7th grade, if you're not sitting with your parents, you have to be in the student section, and you just have a little bit more security. And I mean, because you're always going to have a few, as I call them, knuckleheads that are going to do stuff, and it's hard to stop them. But you don't want it to ruin it for everybody else. So I mean, like maybe have a little bit more security. Maybe have someone over by the student section to help out. And I'm not sure what's happened, but usually it's like maybe a fight, maybe 2. But maybe if there's more people, administration from school, teachers, whatever, like maybe some of that stuff will can be eliminated.
I think we need to bring the 8 team to each one of the schools in Mecklenburg County. Have Mr. T come in. I'm sorry, I'm dating myself a little bit here, but just having extra force to make sure that this stuff doesn't happen. To me, it's a great safeguard.
Yeah, I mean, just having the extra, officers or whatever at the game, I mean, that definitely goes a long way. And just the faculty, I mean, you do have, at the end of the day, you have a lot of teachers and administration that kids respect. And they won't do things just because that teacher or administrator is there.
Right.
But just having them around. But I also know from the flip side of it, as far as the staff and administration, your weeks are so long, like your Friday nights, you want to be able to spend with your family or do it. I mean, so it's tough for sure.
Hey, Chris, do you know Coach DJ McFadden from Independence?
We've talked on Twitter and different things. We've never met in person.
I was going to say we're going to try to. DJ might be back with us right now. Want to introduce the two of you, kind of in a more virtual space, I guess. DJ, you with us?
Yeah, I'm here. What's up, Coach?
Hey, what's going on, Coach?
Not much, man. Me and Coach had a couple conversations over Twitter, like you said, man. I've been watching Coach last couple years, man. He's doing a good job over there at Corvian.
I appreciate it, man. I love watching what you do and what you guys are doing, and just hearing it from coaches, college coaches that come in and talk about you guys.
Yeah, man. I appreciate it, man. You're doing a good job.
Coach Chris, DJ is a state championship quarterback from Independence as well, if you didn't know that. Maybe
I
you
did not know.
Yeah. 2-time state championship quarterback.
Okay.
Trying to be a state championship coach.
Trying to be a
I
state
don't care
championship
nothing about the
coach.
rings. I'm saying 20 years ago, I'm trying to be. Nah, I'm messing with you.
DJ, they asked me about you. I think you were the quarterback at Independence when Vance came within 1 point of ending the streak. Were you the quarterback of that team?
Yeah, hey, I was talking. It's crazy you talk about that. I was talking to a good friend of mine a couple weeks ago, Justin Byers.
Yeah, I coached him.
Yeah, I was talking to Justin about that, and y'all gave us a time that night. It was crazy. We only had, man, I think we had maybe, I remember Coach talking about 8 offensive plays in the second half.
Yeah,
Y'all was
yeah.
running that wing tee.
We ran that wing tee and
But
that
you
double
had Anthony
wing.
Carruthers back there, and you couldn't see him, so you don't know where the ball at. And by the time you look up, one of my best friends from childhood, Chase Waldo, running down the sideline.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's a name from the past. I hadn't
Chase
heard that
Waldo,
name
right?
in 20 years. Good, great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great game. I tell you what I remember about it the most was Geiler and Knox fussing at each other, and Knox just taking over the defense. And he went out there, and we went for 2 because we went for the win.
Mm-hmm.
And Knox went out there to coach defense because he was mad at Gala for letting us score.
Yeah.
And I remember telling Coach Simpson, I said, "Look, we haven't thrown the ball all night. Knox is gonna send the house." I said, "Just hit a tight end dump and we win." And he said, "We hadn't practiced it." I said, "Yeah, we ain't practiced this double wing that much either, but you see that work." And he said, "We're gonna run a bootleg," and he set the house, and y'all tackled us, and the streak stayed alive.
Shout out Jordan Woods on the tackle.
Oh, you remember that play, huh?
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure.
It is funny because I remember when I was in Ohio, I coached at Carter Mooney, which is a private school, and that's when they were doing the Herb Street versus the Ohio versus USA challenge.
Yeah.
In Ohio, we had 7 divisions, and at the time we were Division III, and he was pushing for us to play Independence. At that time, we had 2 guys go to Penn State, 2 guys go to Nebraska, a guy go to Notre Dame. And Independence refused to play us. Like they ended up playing, I don't know if it was Moeller or Elder.
They played Moeller the following year, and Moeller stopped the streak.
They played Elder with Kyle Rudolph, the tight end.
I thought it was Elder because we ended up playing.
Was it Elder?
Yeah,
Elder,
it was Elder.
2007.
Yeah. So that 2017.
Just for the record, I had nothing to do with that.
Right, because that 2017, we ended up playing. It was a team out of Pittsburgh. They were ranked number 8 in the country, and we ended up beating them. But we were supposed to play Independence, but because we were a smaller division school, they wouldn't play us. Ended up playing Elder, and that was the 108 or 107 game win streak. Ended up coming to an end that week.
Yeah, I was in college, so I had nothing to do with that.
Hey, DJ, let me ask you. Initially, in the first quarter, looked like they weren't letting anybody in, and then later on, they start having ticket sales. Did they lift the attendance restriction during the game?
I don't know, Gary. I have no idea, bro. I just know. I don't know. I feel like it. I feel like they had a good opportunity to get packed. I feel like we had a good crowd, though. I feel like it was still a decent crowd.
Yeah. Your side was pretty good.
Yeah, I feel like it was a decent crowd.
About 3/4 full, but I was talking to it. I was telling them earlier. I was talking to an administrator, and you know, the administrators, they don't like it because it's really costing everybody money.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, we got Mallard Creek at home next week, and I'm like, they probably gonna put another band. That's gonna be 3 straight weeks. We done had a band on our games.
Hey, well, guys,
Yeah.
I know I'd like to keep both the coaches on here while we go over some of the Charlotte scores, see if there's any big surprises here. We've already talked about Butler beating North Meg 28-0 and Independence doing a running clock on Chambers 41-6. Huff beats Geringer 66-0. Myers Park beats Hopewell 63-8. Ardrikell defeats Rocky River 35-6, and Palisades all over Valentine Ridge 54-14. Any games stand up for us? I know we talked about the Indy game. I know we talked about the Butler game. Any other games here that would just mention that kind of stand out for you?
I heard Sun Valley beat Catholic.
Yeah, Sun Valley did beat Catholic. I think the score was what,
Yeah.
21-0, if I remember right, or 20. Let's see if I can find the score down here. Sun Valley 21-0, yes. And the Battle of the Ridges over at Union County, Porter Ridge beats Marvin Ridge 23-21. Weddington
I
beat
think that
Hutchinson
game is.
34-7.
I think that score's closer than I thought it would be. I thought Porter Ridge would win by a little bit bigger margin.
Those Union County battles, though, I'll tell you what, they just bring the best out of both teams. Special place over there. Over the North Piedmont area, Davie County beat Statesville 22-7. Lake Norman over South Iredell 38-12, and Mooresville over North Iredell 49-7. In the greater Metro 6A, 7A, A.L. Brown, they were down early in the game, but they defeat Central Cabarrus 39-21. Harding 16, Berry 7. Hickory Ridge squeaks by Cox Mill 23-20, and Olympic defeats West Cabarrus 20-17. Anything that stands out for you, Dale or Gary or
No.
DJ or Chris? Okay.
Nothing stands out. I'm happy Harding won. That definitely helps our RPI for sure. But I mean, I thought Harding and even West Meck, are better teams than what their record shows. So was happy to see Harding pull one out for sure.
Well, that's the thing about it. A lot of times people don't understand is you want to beat your opponents, but you want your opponents to beat all their opponents too because of this RPI system. So it is all good.
The Sun Valley score is a little surprised. Not the fact that they won, because Coach Smith does a good job, and I know the quarterback's good.
But
But shutting them out.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see when the last time Catholic's been shut out.
So that is a surprise. I mean, actually, I figured Catholic would win that game, but we knew Sun Valley is a good team. Maybe they're better than we think here. Maybe
right.
maybe cut. Well, I don't know, 34-7. I might have thought that Weddington could have won that game by a bigger score. If someone would have asked me, I would have guessed probably a wider margin than that.
It's funny you said that. It kind of brings me back to when Richmond used to dominate all those teams over the years. If they beat a team 35-0, some of their fans would be upset with their coach for not winning by 49-0, and others are saying,
Right.
"Well, you ran up the score. You should have ran the score up as much as you did."
I think that Hickory
I got a
Ridge
question.
win is a good one.
Yeah.
I hear they were down 20-10 with 5 minutes left. That's a good win.
That is a good win. DJ, when did you know that your game tonight would be limited in crowd? We heard about it Wednesday from Karen Belk.
I think
When
that's
did you hear
found
about
out.
it?
I think that's
Is that when you found out?
Yeah, I think so.
Really?
Yeah. But as coaches, we don't get in. I mean,
Right.
yeah,
Just want to play the game.
Since they're selling tickets online now, they should have a special code that they issue each week to the parents first, and let them have the opportunity to purchase tickets first,
Right.
and then let the public know what the code is to buy tickets.
So what I did,
that's kind of what we did for the West Charlotte game. I got the link first and got to give it to my parents before but I mean you can only really give them a certain amount of time because they'll try to stockpile all the tickets
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
You know what I mean? But
Hey,
that's
what
kind
I
of
was
what we
doing,
did.
what I was doing this week was as I was looking through some of the schedules, I started seeing that you couldn't buy for certain games like your game tickets. And that was my indicator that that's one way to figure out which games are limited. If you go into Max Preps and you'll not see a link to buy tickets, then so I was checking. I went to Butler tonight, and I was wondering, am I going to show up there? And all of a sudden, it's limited, but they sold tickets all week. So
I just got a message from the Godfather here. We got some clips that we'd like to show tonight. Some highlights of I think it's a Huff game over. Uh, let's go ahead and show some clips if we can.
this was the Huffs game here.
Right.
Samari
Samari
Matthews.
Matthews, is that right?
Yep.
Gosh.
Should sit there, JB, over the Garrett.
Yeah. You know,
I mean, is he heading towards, was it the Lone Star States? Is that where he's going to?
that's what we hear here. Texas
Wow.
recruit. Yeah, that's Gary. I agree with you. That's
Because
a
Garrett doesn't have a JB, so Huff's JB probably didn't have a game this week. The Huff is not getting anything out of it, and Garrett is not getting anything out of it. They just playing each other because it's on the schedule.
right.
I think in a situation like that, send Huff's JB to play Garrett and give your kids a night off.
So what Samari is, well, what one of my coaching friends says, he'd be a Dominex player. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's not boring. He said, no, he's not boring, but at night I'll be able to sleep knowing I have him on my team. I don't have to worry about certain things.
Like my highlights, Gary. I'm better than football Friday night was.
Here's what I like. I got to tell Brian, I like this quarterback under center. Wow.
Yeah.
Quarterback under center. I don't know why these high school coaches don't understand you run the ball better under center than you do in the shotgun.
Now I want to say that last highlight, that kid really did a great job of tapping down and get his feet in bounds. They played well, Gary. They look good. North, your old school. They didn't look horrible, but it was just. I mean, the score could have been more than 28-0.
You got that right. Do we still have Chris and DJ on?
Yeah, I'm still on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was even thinking too, like, with DJ was talking about the tickets, it would also be good for CMS. Maybe give teachers a extra day of PTO if they're willing to come out to the game to help. Just have more adult supervision. Just give them a day off. Like they're coming out on a Friday night where they don't have to, and just be able to have the students and fans and everything else to help out. Just give them a day off, a teacher work day where they normally go in. Like they don't have to come in or something. I mean, I just
that's a very good idea.
It's
just
a good idea, but the problem isn't students. At least not from what I've seen. It's not students, and teachers would certainly help curb student uprising, but sometimes having a uniform around is more of a threat than having students around, right?
Right.
Yeah, and it's like, if you can have your staff, then your staff can deal with the students, and you can have the uniforms around to deal with the adults. But it's like sometimes, people look to different incentives and things, and it's sometimes, hey, if you give a teacher a day off after a little bit of time, an extra PTO day off or whatever, I mean, I'm sure you'll get
Mm-hmm.
people to come out. I mean, it'll be a big difference if they got a day and you get 20, 25 faculty members out at the game and being around, compared to not having them. I mean, I'm sure it makes a difference somehow, some way.
I wonder if we can get the clip on about the lady last week about the tickets. I'd just like to have Coach Chris to listen to her if possible.
I'm a football mom, go Pumas, but I'm also a CMS employee. And I see, Sam, you've made a really couple of really good points. Ironically, I work for operations, so there are times where I'm quote unquote in those rooms or privy to a lot of that stuff that some of those decision making. And I'll say this first, and then I'll speak on the Postgame game. You're absolutely right. What needs to happen is that, in my opinion, there hasn't been an example made for the behavior that we've been seeing at these games. There has not been an example of this is what happens when you misbehave at a football game in CMS. My son's a senior, and since junior year, I've seen and heard of a lot of different things that some schools have tried to do. From what I remember, at one time, Butler, they had kind of like a pseudo dad enforcement agency that kind of helped the SROs and the coaches. And the police force. They had kind of like their own little mini police force that they helped out. I've heard, different variants of that, across the district and the state. But penalizing the kids from having the players from having the full experience of having their family, their community, and their friends and everybody cheer them on, and then the bystander, the watchers who are coming, kicking them out because a handful of people are cutting up and carrying on. It's wrong. And even with the whole idea of, you have to be 17 and this and that, everybody knows after school, there's a lot of kids hanging out after school for whatever reason. So they're not going home. So they're getting into these games. You have parents dropping off 12 and 13 kids. They're jumping out of a car and they're walking up, So I do agree that there has to be some things in place. But while they're doing that, in the meantime, they need to start setting examples for this is what happens when you misbehave. Because to punish everybody for the actions of a couple, whether they're inside or outside the perimeter, is wrong. It's absolutely wrong.
Coach, I got to ask you this. Do you agree with her that maybe it's not good to do this like great punishment? It should be done like on an individual basis.
I mean, it's tough. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, it's the safety of the players. But I mean, there's nothing like running out on the field and seeing your friends and your classmates and everything else. And I don't know what the balance is. I mean, I know schools have gone to clear bags and they have metal detectors. But like I said, I mean, it's a lot of the goofy stuff. And it's maybe if you, like I said, you give teachers a day off, you can have more adults that aren't necessarily there because they have kids planned, but just to help monitor what's going on, and that just makes it a little better. Like we've had fights, when I was in Ohio, and only parents were able to go to the game, and that's what the stands look like. And it's hard for the kids, it's hard for the parents, it's hard financially for schools. But then at the same time, when you have those games and everything goes good, like what's being done instead of just saying, well, that's what they're supposed to do.
Right.
So if people are going to the games and everything's going good, like, I don't want to say reward them, but like something like, I mean, it just, something has to be done because there's always something's done on the flip side, on the bad side, but not enough is done on the good side.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that.
But that's tough. Like coming out to a game and that's what the stands look like. That's tough for kids.
It really is. And the thing about it is you want to have equity at the same time you want safety. Safety's got to trump everything.
Right.
And how you identify the risk and how you safeguard the risk makes a big difference. If you safeguard it so much where the experience is not nearly as meaningful for the kids, have we achieved anything? And then you have to go back and say, well, it just takes that one person to ruin the whole safety for all the players and all the fans. And I mean, it's a conundrum. I mean, one of these days,
one thing I think they could do, and this just hit me since we're talking about it, and maybe I'm 80% right, but all the kids have technology. It's issued to them. They all get Chromebooks. The school can download information on those Chromebooks. They have mass emails that go to parents whenever they have school announcements. The school system needs to make a video and distribute it to each student and parent, because parents get the emails too. And, the video needs to say, here's what's going to happen if you are involved in, anything that disrupts the game or this, cause a disturbance at the game.
right?
And so they know the consequences, because then, the parents are going to reiterate it to the kids. Those parents that get overly vocal about kids or coaches, everybody's going to know the consequences. You send that video home to every CMS student and every CMS parent about, hey, here's what's going on. Here's what we're not going to tolerate at any, not just football game. It could be, it could be a basketball game. It could be a soccer game. Any CMS activity that's open to the public. If you are involved in, XYZ, here is the consequence. I think if you do that, it would go a long way to reducing some of the incidents that are taking place.
Yeah,
Excellent idea.
even going to a college format. So each player gets 4 tickets, home and away. If you're a student, you have to have a student ID and you get your ticket before the game happens to be able to get in. So at least that way, hey, and maybe the players get a little bit more. Maybe you give the players on the team 6 tickets. So at least, those families can get in. And if you're a student and you have the student ID and you have to get your ticket by Thursday before Friday's game, and then just kind of figure it out from there. But at least that way, hey, Butler is getting this many, they have this many tickets. Independence has this many tickets. These are the seats that are available. And just kind of go from there. But, at least that way, if each player gets 6 tickets, 8 tickets, 10 tickets, whatever it is, that mom, dad, brothers, sisters, cousins, grandmas, they can get in.
And coach, just like college, not every player's parent comes to every game, so they give them to a teammate.
Right. So now you share, and you can get the more somebody else gets more tickets because they don't have the numbers. But then, like I said, with the student ID, like not saying you go in and so you can't get a ticket for somebody that goes to another school. I get one ticket as a student and you come to the game, and it just kind of eliminates a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I just think the school system has taken the quickest and easiest way out.
Absolutely.
Um, it's like you got a problem, run from it.
Well,
That's
you
that's
you
what
got to
it
have.
says to me.
You also have to have transparency about it. That's the thing that I think a lot of. I know as a person that covers football, I like to see transparency with the game and seeing my friends who are coaches having to deal with that. It's be a little bit challenging too. I tell you what, I see we got a bunch of scores here. Coach Chris, feel free to stay on with us. If you see any games that I mentioned here that you think is big, just let me know. AC Reynolds, they beat Asheville 26-7. Big win over in Fairview. Alexander Central holds on and beats McDowell 30-28. Andrews over Rosman 20-6. Down in the southeastern part of the state, Ashley beats North Brunswick 20-6. Aiden Grifton all over Bedingfield 42-0. Bishop McGinnis beats Chatham Central 50-0. Brevard all over East Henderson 46-7. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but there have been a lot of blowouts so far in this list here, except for that Alexander Central North McDowell game. Camden beats Bertie 35-22. Central Davidson, about 5 or 6 years ago, Central Davidson was lucky to win a game, and now, I mean, they're winning games left and right. They beat Randleman tonight 40-29. That is a team to look out for. It's good to see Clinton finally winning a game here. They've been struggling for the last couple of years. They won 42-14. Irwin over Inca 28-14. Croatan 38, Richmond 7. Currituck County over Hertford County 37-14, and Dudley all over Western Guilford 41-3. Dale, there was one or two games in there that stands out. Which ones would they be for you?
Out of all the games here,
Yeah, just that front half that I just talked about.
no,
Nothing really stands out for me on either here.
no.
Uh, Going down to the other side here, East Bladen, they beat East Columbus. Looks like 44-6. East Carteret over Lejeune 49-12. East Deepland 38, Trask 6. East Forsyth all over Parklands 54-6. East Rutherford 57, Chase 7. I tell you what, East Rutherford team, that is a good 3A team right there. East Surrey over North Surrey 46-34. East Wilkes 35, Allegheny 3. Eastern Guilford over Southern Guilford 31-13. That was a game, Dale, I attended. And be honest with you, I thought I was going to see more out of Eastern Guilford. They have really good line play. Their offensive line, defensive line is the best on that. Best thing about the team, they do not have a lot of what I call team speed. They had enough technique and they knew how to tackle well enough to win that game, but not a really strong or speedy team, well coached team, and very fundamentally sound team. But it was an interesting game. It's both those teams are fairly young too. Eastern Randolph, they beat Southwestern Randolph today 38-10. Fairmont over West Bladen 12-7. Forbush 17, Surrey Central 6, Franklin 42, North Henderson 21, Grimsley all over Ragsdale 43-6, Havelock 29, Dixon 28, Hendersonville 40, Owen 0. Dale, the one score that's kind of surprised me on that right hand is a Havelock Dixon game. Who would have thought that would have had a game between those two where it wasn't a running score for Havelock?
Right. I think the West Bladen game as well, maybe.
Right. I was thinking the same thing on that. That was an interesting one too. I'm just going to look over here. We don't have to read every one of these scores. Anything that kind of stands out for me. Jacksonville, they beat Rose 35-21. Jacksonville might be the best 6A team in the East. I'm really big in Jacksonville. And the reason why I say that, I don't know if we've gotten to the score yet or not. I'll wait. There might be another one down here a little bit. It's between Scotland and Terry Sanford. A little bit of a shocker there. Um, Dale, I'm just looking at this side here. I don't really see anything that kind of surprises me on the left hand side. That Hunt Southern Nash might surprise me. I'm surprised that Hunt would beat Southern Nash by 17. Not shocked, but just surprised.
What is Lumberton's record right now?
I think that might be their very first game they've won this year. They beat Grace Creek 21.
That's what I was thinking.
Robinson County, there's one team that's really good there. It's St. Paul's. The other teams are kind of struggling, although I think Red Springs might be average. But Lumberton, Purnell Sweat, Fairmont, uh, it's pretty tough sledding right now. Let's see on the right hand side, trying to see anything that really shocks me. That Murphy beating Robbinsville, that's not a shock. That's not a surprise. When those two teams play, anything can happen.
Right. It's like it would have probably a good game.
Didn't see that second score at the very bottom, that Northern Guilford 14, Northeast Guilford 8.
Mhm.
A little bit surprised about that one. I thought that game would be Northern would win by more, but last week they barely beat Ashburn. All right.
All right. Yeah, I don't see anything else.
Yeah, let's keep on. We can go down to the next slide when we get there. Oh, okay, let's look at the Brawley area. Anything to kind of that Panther Creek Green Hope game. I actually thought Green Hope would win that game, and I wasn't surprised or shocked or surprised, but I picked Green Hope to win that game. Willow Spring actually beat Apex. I think I found the score on that. It was, oh gosh, 25-13. Willow Springs beat Apex 25-13.
Okay.
Nothing really surprises me on this one.
No.
Cardinal Gibbons, I'll tell you what, that's a darn good team right there. All right, going down a little bit here. See if anything kind of surprises me on that. Nothing on the left surprises me. Maybe a little bit surprised that South Johnson beats Lee County by 21. I thought South Johnson would squeak by, but they did more than squeak. They didn't need any WD-40 tonight. And that North Pitt Southwest Edgecombe game, that might surprise me a little bit. I thought Southwest Edgecombe would win that one. Not shocked. Dale, the one score that really did shock me had to do with my alma mater tonight.
Oh, yeah, they lost tonight, didn't they?
They didn't just lose. They were running clock by a team they haven't lost to in 13, 14 years. South
Yeah.
Stanley 40, North Stanley 0.
South Stanley Colts. Isn't that right? They're the Colts?
The Rebel Bulls, though, is the West
No, the
Stanley.
Rebel Bulls. Who's the Colts?
West Stanley.
West Stanley.
So going down here on this next one, let's see here. Anything that kind of surprises me.
Man, there's some.
Richmond Brits. I thought that game was going to be a close one. That was the game to go to. You're in the 7A in the East tonight.
Yeah, look at Richmond.
I mean, Richmond's like, hey guys, don't ignore me. You might be talking about Cleveland. You might be talking about Weddington and Grimsley and Mooresville. You better not forget me. Let's see. Nothing else really kind of surprised me on the left-hand side.
A lot of big gaps there, aren't there? A lot of big margin games.
Yeah, I mean, Graham, gave Southern Alamance. I don't know if they even gave them token opposition, 76-0.
Yeah.
That's when you want to wake up Leroy because he hadn't seen a wreck like that in years. Oh, let's see here.
Scotland, Terry Sanford. Look at that. 33
That was
27.
the one that kind of opened my eyes because I have Terry Sanford as one of the top 3 or 4 teams in
Yeah.
the 6A. They beat 71st, earlier on this season. But that's a really good team. I mean, I've seen Scotland play in the state championship before. I know you have too.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, let's see here. Seeing South Davison, they keep on winning. Dell, when have we ever been in week 8 where South Davison's undefeated? I don't think it's ever happened before. Actually, I know it hasn't happened before.
I would. You have better knowledge in that. My bet would have been that it's never happened,
Well,
but not that I knew that.
South Davidson has been around since 1989. It was basically a consolidation of Denton and then just a very small school that came in with Denton. I mean, we're talking about minuscule. I don't think South Davidson's ever won more than 6 games in a season.
I
All
saw
right.
Andrews beat Lexington. Was that right?
I
PW
think I
Andrews.
saw that too. Let's see here.
Yeah. 30
That was
23.
I won't say a mild surprise on that one. Washington County, or actually, if you're in Plymouth, it's called Washington County. Just let you know that. Washington County beat Swing Christian 26-21. West Davison, they beat Thomasville 27-20. You don't see that happen very often between those 2 teams. West Davison's got a good team this year. Battle of Alamance County, Western Alamance over Eastern Alamance. The one right above it, that did surprise me. West Wilkes beat the Star Mount 23-20. That doesn't just surprise me, that shocks me.
Well, Watauga all over South Caldwell. So Watauga just keeps rolling.
Yeah.
Not that's not a surprise.
No, not at
It's not a
all.
surprise they won. It's not a surprise that they won big.
No. Well, we got a lot of different scores that came in tonight. Let's look at the Southern Piedmont, Cherryville over East Gaston, 21-14. Would that classify as a mild surprise to you, Dale, or not?
Maybe a mild surprise. Yeah.
Is
There's
that
a
score right? Lincolnton
there's a
over
little.
Shelby?
Did you
Yeah.
ask Lincoln? Yeah, Lincolnton beat Shelby in overtime.
Oh, wow.
In fact, we had a comment, um, just kind of someone throwing some Alexander Torres made a point of that as well. That and that I picked Shelby to win that game, so
Yeah, I
it
did
would be a
too.
close game. We both said Wednesday night it would be a 1-score game. It was a 1-score game. It was a
Yeah.
overtime game. How about that?
Wow. That's
What a
going
game.
to change things up. Now, the Yadkin Valley 1A, 2A, 3A here. That North Stanley South Stanley game, going into that game, I'd take North Stanley probably by 2 touchdowns. And it shows you how stupid I am because South Stanley wins 40-0.
I would have picked North Stanley to win. I don't know if I could have picked a margin. I would have felt like North Stanley would win it comfortably, but okay.
North Rowan over Thomas Jefferson. North Stanley, North Rowan's got to play. I think it might be next week, and North Rowan might be favored at this point. I got to
Mm.
find out what's going on in North Stanley. There might have, who knows, there might have been some players out or whatever, but kind of surprised me. Those non-conference Charlotte area schools with the independent private schools, I can't help you out on that.
Yeah, there's no surprises. I don't see a score for Raven Gap.
They were
Charlotte
winning, I believe.
Christian. Yeah, I would. My pick was for them to win the game. Uh, we don't have a score there.
They were up.
Country Day,
I had
Latin. Nothing's a surprise here.
I saw two
71 to
scores.
nothing. That Providence Day,
I saw
man,
two
that's
updates
just not a.
about that Raven Gap. I had one at 41-21. Another one that had it. The game was fourth quarter 41-28 Raven Gap. So
That sounds about right.
yeah, Christian's been. Didn't they lose a quarterback earlier on in the season? I can't remember now. It's been a while. Yeah, he got hurt. Okay, that's what I was thinking about it. So,
I'm sorry,
oh,
I was reading some of the comments that were posted here about some other scores.
Ashbrook Kings Mountain game. I took Ashbrook. I thought they would win that game. I didn't think
Yeah.
they were going to win it by a running score. Did you?
No, but I figured they'd win it. That's why I picked them in our pick 'em, and I just felt like that was. I believe this is going to be continue to be a very good season for Ashbrook.
He crashed all over Hunter House, South Point. It's good to see South Point win again. Mount Pleasant, they keep
Yeah,
on winning. They beat
North
Amsterdam.
Gaston though. So
Monroe beats West Stanley. The Colts. J.M. Robinson over South Rowan and Concord over Jesse Carson.
no
You know
surprise. I
what?
don't see any surprises here.
Look at the bottom game, that West Rowan, East Rowan. That was the Battle of Rowan County.
Uh-huh.
East Rowan's improved this year. They have improved. They beat Salisbury last week, and they held in with West Rowan for most of that game. So over the Western Foothills, Bandy's over North Lincoln. A little bit surprised by the margin on that one. I thought it was going to be a closer game. East Lincoln and Hickory, they're all over their opponents, and Newton Conover beats Bunker Hill. Wow. You know what? I really like this format, Dale. I don't know about you. It's better doing the Twitter Spaces.
Oh, I agree 100%. We can show more content. Um,
So
why I
going
wanted
in,
to. That's why I wanted to start out on our. We saw on our Wednesday show that it's obviously a better thing, and for years I've wanted to be able on Friday night to offer up something similar to, but better. So let's say Football Friday Night 2.0. Um, and this format allows us to do some of that. So we got to see some highlights.
so
It
next
makes it
week.
easy to show the scores here like
Oh,
this, and
big time.
exactly broken down into the conferences. I think that's a good thing. Yeah, I like this.
Yeah, I do too. Got to ask you this, Dell. Chambers and North Mecklenburg, both of them had pretty bad nights tonight. They got to play each other next week. That game is going to be at North Mech. You think that you think both of those teams are got a lot to work on this coming week? I think both of them are probably more with Chambers being that they're 8A. Do you think you're gonna see a lot of adjustments going into this next week?
Not knowing the Chambers situation, I don't know the coaching staff. I don't know their philosophies and how they work, et cetera. If it was still Aaron Brand there, I could answer a whole lot better as to how they will respond to what happened tonight. Uh, I think the thing that they need to be concerned about is not thinking that they can go into that game with North Mech as a huge favorite and, coast in the game. North Mech showed promise in certain areas. I don't want to be, misleading into thinking that, North Mech looked great tonight. Butler looked good. Butler looked very good. Butler did a lot of things well. And I think that Butler's doing well wasn't totally because North Mech is a bad team. Because I don't think North Mech's a bad team.
Right.
I just think that from the whole scheme of tonight, I would say that it just looked like Butler was better prepared, had a better game plan. They executed well. I mean, they just kind of like had a lot of gears clicking for them tonight, and it was just I think, a hard battle for North Mech. And North Mech shouldn't come into thinking that, well, Chambers got blew out, so this is going to be an easy game for us. I think they both
Right.
have mental challenges they will have to work on this week.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. A lot of things going on here. I know we've gone through these scores already, and I was going to say maybe we could run some more of that Samari Matthews highlights, and then I want to go through your highlights still once again. Mm,
Yeah, it's a nice return.
gosh,
You
just
know,
nice return.
it's it's Garinger, but as you look at it, you see he had vision the whole time. He saw where he wanted to go. And I'm talking about on the field. Obviously, he wanted to go to the goal line, but if you watch him in his return, you can see he sees that. Okay, uh, boy, a little bit of a stiff arm too, wasn't
Yeah,
it? a
he has at least three
lot of
gears. I like that.
a lot of speed there. I think good vision, a lot of speed, and
How
just
big? How big
an
is he?
overwhelming athlete. I don't know, but he looks to be a 6'2" kind of guy, 6'1" maybe, and 220, something like that, comparing to
Mm,
the Garinger kids. And of course, there was the highlights to you can see that field. The field looks wonderful.
yeah.
Um,
Tell you what, your background looked really nice too. Enjoying looking at the sky. Oh gosh, that still hurts me. Oh,
yeah, I tell you, man, that's why I posted it. And unfortunately, in our chat, apparently the quality was not good. Um, Langston's like, I want it, but the quality's bad. And yeah, hopefully after he told me he could, the quality was better when I sent it to him again, as you can see, and uh, hopefully he really got a good shot at it. I had some other stuff tonight that I had happened to me tonight, something that's not ever happened. Now, I've had many times when I've been right on top of a play on the sideline and, the kid finishes face to face to me. Well, tonight we had a situation again, it was similar to that. And when after the kid was about 3 yards out of bounds, the Butler kid was, um, North Met kid, hit him. And of course, there was a penalty thrown on it, but I'm pretty sure it was the North Met kid a North Met player that did this. Apparently, took a swing at the one of the Butler players, but hit me in the back. The punch hit me.
oh gosh.
It wasn't a hard punch; it was more of a slap kind of a deal.
Oh,
But
you could have gone down there and You could have done what's it called, the Phantom Punch from was it Liston? You remember that fight between Ali and Liston, the second one?
I
Just do that
do.
Phantom Punch.
I'm not a big boxing fan, but I probably watched every Ali fight.
Yeah.
Almost every Ali fight.
Okay.
That I watched.
Being Ali, who of the Charlotte Mecklenburg coaches is the Muhammad Ali of the group? I'll say it's Sam,
Now say again. Oh, you mean that
the head
talk
head
like
football.
Ali?
Just had the talks and can back it up like Ali.
The talk and can back it up. Well, nobody talks more than Sam does. First of all, no coach that I know. Well, no coach that I know that can also at least somewhat back it up. Um, I know there's a lot of coaches that jack their jaws,
Yeah.
but no one rivals Sam in the mouth department
Yeah.
and ability to back it up or back most of it up, I guess.
And to me, he's either Muhammad Ali or sometimes he's a Jerry Corey.
I thought Ali, Ali, of course, was he had lots of poetic statements but they were jabs at his opponents. They were confident jabs
Yeah.
and I'm talking about verbal jabs at the opponent. And Ali was able to back them up. Um,
Yeah.
the Thriller in Manila.
Well, he called all kinds of things to Frazier.
I
And
know, and I I thought
I love Frazier, to be honest with you. I think he was a better boxer.
I love Frazier too. I was a big Frazier fan, and I thought after all that talk, leading up to the fight, that it was just going to motivate more, and I really thought Frazier would win that fight going in. I just felt like all the cards were and Frazier was a harder puncher.
Oh yeah.
He was a brutal,
And
brutal boxer.
Ollie will mint that too. He said he never been hit harder than he was against Frazier.
Right,
So,
exactly. So, and I thought because of that, Ali had better footwork and could move around, but Frazier could always keep pace and keep, his position, um, and stay in the face and not let he didn't even let Ali run around a whole lot. But
oh
uh,
yeah, he was good about containment. Like where you live, Dale, Mecklenburg County, that's Ollie, that's Frazier. We're in Raleigh. We're talking about the Jerry Coonies. Hopefully, we can get on to the Raleigh scores and look at some of the big ones over here. Just want to look at that one again. Rolesville, that is a team that had really struggled early on in the season. I think this is their fourth win. I think they're 4-3 right now. They're still a very strong team. Millbrook, they might be the best 8A team in the East, and they beat Broughton 42 to
mhm.
7. Leesville Road is good to see. Last week they lost to Millbrook 28 to nothing. Of course, Rolesville lost, I believe, 28 to 7 to Millbrook. But Leesville, they beat a pretty decent Inlow team, 40 to 19 tonight. Corinth Holders, Athens Drive. I see we got Driver on there. That's cool. Corinth Holders, they're over in Johnston County. They beat Athens Drive 30 to 13. I'm going into the more of the, I would call it the Greater Nice 7A. That's kind of where Johnson County and Wake County meet. Clayton all over South Gardner. Cleveland, they they beat Gardner. Okay, good,
Yeah,
49 to 28. That one was one I had kind of circled here because I thought it was going to be about a 3-score game, to be honest with you.
can't
That's
hear you,
exactly what
Jim.
it was. Can you not hear me?
You went
Can you hear
mute,
me?
but you're not on mute.
Can you hear me now? 1 second.
You don't look
Can you hear me?
muted. Oh, it must be me. Keep going. It must be me.
Okay. Langston said he can hear me. So
There we go. I can hear you now.
okay.
I don't know what happened.
That's cool. Um, I thought it was going to be about a 3-score game between Cleveland and Gardner. Southeast Raleigh all over Smithfield Selma. A long time ago, 35, 40 years ago, Smithfield Selma was a very good team. They used to win more games than they lose. Now they're lucky to win 1 or 2 games. But you know what? There was a guy that coached over at Smithfield Selma. He also won a state championship for Lexington, won over in Albemarle, actually won 3 in Albemarle. A guy named Gaster. I'm sure you remember him back when he had
Oh
TA.
yeah.
Um, he won places like even West Columbus, So,
And
um,
you're going to try to get a coach on, right?
yeah,
Of
I'm
this
hoping
group.
I'm hoping to get the coach on here. Kind of looking down a little bit here.
You're
Riverside,
talking about Chadwick. Just
Chadwick, that's right, and
yeah.
he has some good connections across the state. Hillside over Chapel Hill, 22-0. Northern Durham, I think I saw they beat East Chapel Hill 12-6. And Southern Durham over Riverside 42-14. Northern Durham, Riverside, East Chapel Hill, all those teams are struggling. It's really between Hillside and Southern Durham. They might have already played. Going to this next list here, uh, Wake Forest beating East Wake, no surprise. Nightdale beating Vance County, no surprise. Heritage beating Franklinton 23-20. A little bit surprised by that. I thought Franklinton would win that game. And we've already talked about that South Johnston game, them beating Lee County. A little bit surprised by that. No surprise for Union Pines. Brian Till, I tell you what, he keeps on winning over Union Pines. This is wins 45-13. West Johnston over Harnett Central. That does surprise me. I had Harnett Central winning that game comfortably. So rank up one, a little bit surprised on that one. Webb over Orange, no surprise. Seaforth over Cedar Ridge, no surprise. And South Granville over Carver, no surprise on that. That North Pitt, Southwest Edge, kind of a little bit surprised by that one. Um, Bun beating Wake Prep and Lewisburg beating American Leadership, no surprise there. Anything you want to talk about, Dale?
No, I don't see anything here that's. It might be interesting to know more about that North Pitt game.
Yeah.
But
Well, that's interesting. Like in that whole area, you got North Pitt, you got Southwest Edgecombe, you got Green Central, you got Aiden Grifton. I mean, those 4 schools, they kind of beat up on each other. They're all that same, that 3A, 4A size school. Then you got teams like over in Wilson, Hunt and Fike. They can make things interesting also. And I know that game, Hunt's beating Southern Nash tonight. That surprised me. It's good to see a team of Wilson County actually show some spunk.
right.
So that was a big win on that. But we've kind of gone over these scores here. Nothing really surprised me on that. That Havelock beating Dixon, though, I keep on going back to that one. I bet you those teams played 15 times in the last 15 years, and Havelock's won all 15 of them, and probably 12 of them by a running score. Dixon's improved quite a bit, but Havelock is really not the Havelock of yesteryear.
Right.
That Jacksonville Rose game, I'll go back to that one again. We've seen both of those 2 teams play in the state championships a few years back when we had 3A and 3AA. Rose would be
Yeah.
3AA. And they were playing Dudley. Jacksonville was playing Charlotte Catholic. Both of those teams are legitimate teams. James Keenan still beating Goldsboro, but we've gone over these scores here. I think we've gone over just about everything. Dale, anything you want to kind of talk about tonight?
I'm just looking real quick again to see if there's anything else we didn't get out of these, but not a lot of surprises here. Understand we got some more people that just are logging in, so
Yeah.
that's good. So yeah, um,
So we're
I
getting the
see it.
people around.
Yeah, so I heard a couple of good points uh, concerning the attendance thing in CMS, and one of the things that I had a conversation with Langston earlier this week, and it was interesting to hear that uh, Gary was thinking, I think, independently the same thing, and that is to use money from the gate to fund security. And my comment was that, or my belief is that because we know uh, how many tickets are sold, and once you buy your ticket, you have to, your ticket is, you buy your tickets in CMS. If you're not aware, you buy them online. So
Right.
uh, there's no showing up and buying tickets. So they know exactly how many tickets there are that have been sold, and CMS can allocate security and then take part of that gate, or maybe say up front, say we're going to take we're going to need we're going to be supplying so much security, so the school, after you collect your money from the gates and all, we will be taking this cut before any tickets are even sold. Just do it up front, but put more security. Because I don't know about you, Jim, but anytime, I'm not somebody that's going to break break rules. And I
Right. Yeah.
remember after 9/11 and the airport opening back up, and back then I was flying a lot. There were periods that I was in an airport every week, in multiple airports, during a week, maybe 4 airports in a week. And uh, the first time that I showed up to fly, there was hardly anybody in the airport, but there were standing those young soldiers, those young National Guardsmen that they put in the airport, and it immediately made my whole the way that I act change, even though I wasn't going to break any rules. So a show of force, meaning uniforms of security, I think would go a long way in deterring issues inside the stadiums.
A lot of times when we think we have a problem, we try to put the most draconian problem or solution to it, and then find out the problem is not nearly as big as you think it is. It it takes a lot of it takes away from the experience. Give you an example. We're talking about 9/11. Uh, at the time, I was working for a small CPA firm, and the secretary we had, or administrative assistant we had, her last name was spelled DE apostrophe ATH, Diath, which
Mhm,
is Irish. And well, she and her husband were going to go to Ireland, and
mhm.
they left off the apostrophe, so it didn't come off as Diath, it came off as death.
Death, right.
They actually held them off that plane, and they detained them, and they couldn't go back on to Ireland till I think it was like 6 days later
Mm,
because they thought they were terrorists. And the reason I say that is it was a horrible thing to happen to them. They were totally innocent. At the same time, I feel the same way about our coaches. I mean, they're getting penalized for things that really outside their control. Same thing with the players and stuff. To me, roll the dice, add some security. If you need to have 12 people and A team come in, I mean, have them in there.
as Gary would have probably said, unintended consequences. You know, that's what your friends faced.
Yeah.
I want to answer a couple of questions
Sure.
that came up, just because. Um, do I think NC State will beat Notre Dame? I have no idea, and I would not bet. I would not bet on it. I would not bet on NC State. No. Um, that Alexander also made a comment about the Kings Mountain got beat bad by Ashbrook, and you
Yeah.
know, I on this game, Jim, I really felt like Ashbrook would win the game and could maybe win it by 2 scores. I didn't think they would really dominate the game like that.
Right.
Uh, he did make a comment to you. I don't know if you saw it. North Stanley got beat bad.
Yeah, we looked like the proverbial one-legged man in a butt kicking contest.
And we already mentioned the Lincolnton beat Shelby. Uh, did we cover? Did West Caldwell and Patton score?
Patton won that game. So
Um,
Dale, I'll
West
tell you what.
Caldwell
I'm
42, Patton 20
yeah, Dale,
is
I'm
what
running
he
on fumes here, and I want to go ahead and give you to your final thoughts and for the night. What's the overnight biggest thing that you can say about tonight?
about tonight. There were 2 homecoming games tonight, and this just piggybacks on the what we've been discussing with CMS. And um, Butler hosted a homecoming game, and there was hardly any North Mac fans there, but Butler fans were there, in their small stadium. Their small side was full. There was no limiting of tickets at that game. And then just a little bit east of them there in Mint Hill, Independence has a homecoming game and against Chambers, and tickets are limited.
Hmm.
Why? Uh, what's the reasoning that Independence? I'm not saying Butler should have been targeted. I'm saying why was Independence? Why was the Independence game in Chambers targeted as a low attendance game, and the Butler game was not? What's the reasoning? What's the criteria behind these things? Are they just putting a dartboard up, Jim, and
That's
throwing
what I was
darts?
thinking
And
about.
you
It's like,
know,
okay, let's see if we can get this ball through this tire here. So
exactly. So, I mean, you said it Wednesday, and you said it again tonight, and it's transparency. Um, how does this? If DJ finds out about it on Wednesday, that's when we found out. Why do you find out about something? That means probably the school didn't find out about it until Wednesday.
um, you see this
You know,
ball, Dale? You see this baseball?
uh-huh.
Okay, this is their plan. Can can you see the plan now? Can you see the plan now? I mean, that's kind of how it
Unfortunate.
is. It's not transparent because of
Right.
the
No, you're right. Now, unfortunately, Jim, because you were using a virtual background, when you move, it's hard to see.
yeah. I was doing that on purpose because can you see the ball now?
Yeah, so exactly. Is he gonna throw a knuckleball? Is he gonna throw a slider or a curve or yeah, exactly. You can't see the ball, so you don't know. Uh, that to me, I think just puts a a stake in the problem. There is no transparency, and coaches, the school not finding out. So think about people that might tonight at Butler. I saw a lot of former players on the sideline. It was really interesting to see, some faces that I had a hard time putting names to faces, but I recognize the faces even though they're mature people now.
God.
And what if people at Independence decided they wanted to go back for their homecoming game, so they make special arrangement to do so, and then 3 days beforehand, they find out, well, there's no sense of going, or they don't know about this and they show up and they can't,
Yeah.
this is a problem.
Yeah, I agree with you. And especially if you take grandparents or something. Can you imagine taking somebody's grandparents? They're like my parents are 82 and 85 years old. If I had a son that was playing football and I told them to come over there and found out they couldn't go to the game because of some type of restrictions, firstly, I'm not going to tell my 82-year-old mom she can't go in. We'd find a way. We'd get a shovel and get her under the barbed wire or whatever. But I mean, that's going to be a lot of mad people. So, Dale,
Just
I guess the next time we get to, I was going to see where we can all meet up again. I know we got a main show on Tuesday. Talking Prep OT at 8:30 on Wednesday, and then final Talking Preps post game at 11 p.m. on Fridays. A lot of places to go. What's your favorite social media this day, Dale?
my favorite social media. I don't like social media now, which is
Oh,
hard to say,
well, I
but
was going to say, which is the least annoying of all of them? Do you have a least annoying?
least annoying.
Maybe YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube, because I can control exactly the content. Uh, X is just, it's X.
Yeah.
Facebook is, well, you see a lot of stuff you don't want to see. And I've kind of teetered off of Instagram. So, but we're on all spaces. So if you like X, then we're on X and Facebook and Instagram.
Whatever you
Uh,
can do, we got so many different places you can't complain. You can find us somewhere. So
so anybody out there, the games tonight, send us offensive linemen and defensive linemen. Send us names, coaches. Send us names. This will be played. So a lot of coaches may catch part of this tomorrow or something. We want to anybody, players. You can nominate yourself. That's okay. We're going to have a player next week that nominated himself. I think that's it, man.
that sounds good. Well, from Jim West and Dale Ross and countless others that have helped us out, thank you so much for joining us on Talking Preps. And please catch us on Tuesday night. The main show will be on. So we'll catch up with you next time. Take care, guys.